Welcome to Halftime Heroes with the latest sports news from around the Mornington Peninsula. With Adam Kelly, Peter Susovich, Neil Craig, Leigh McQuillen, Luke Harris and Chris Gamble. Take it away, Adam.
Welcome, sports fans, to another riveting edition of Halftime Heroes, episode 13 of this year. It's flying by, boys. Wow. Slightly different looking show. You notice I'm not Adam, and I'm not a shaved down Adam or anything. I'm Neil sitting in the hot seat with Leigh McQuillen. Leigh, how are you, mate?
Yeah, really.
A happy, sad Leigh.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say happy.
Happy.
Yeah. You'd be sad. I'll tell you what, I'd be sad if it went the other way, but it didn't. So, look, mate, we'll lick the wounds and take 2 points.
Yeah, no, fantastic. We'll get into that in a minute, mate. And a very happy Chris Gammers, mate. Well, thanks for coming back. After the little sort of touch-up we gave you last week. It's very nice of you to come back.
I couldn't wear any more feedback like that, so I had to come back and show my face, mate. But no, you guys were okay without me last week.
Decent.
Just above.
I reckon the ratings would have, I don't know what the ratings were, Sus, but they would have been well down with that.
They were down.
They plummeted.
Were they?
Yeah.
They plummeted.
Yeah. Through the floorboards, which was fantastic. And of course, Sus, our master button pusher, how are you, mate? Pretty good. I'm just coming off the tyre pick and the who else I had a crack at Cribby. Yeah, so Mazda couple this week.
Who did tyre play?
It might have been Somerville.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, we'll get to that in the Division 2 show. But we'll get straight into the Division 1 side of things. Thanks to Mornington, Frankston and Rosebud Toyota. Thanks, boys. End of financial year's coming up soon, Gammers. Get your boys down there, get your utes.
Trade the Ranger in.
The Ford Ranger, and just get down there and get a Toyota, mate.
Okay.
And Macca, get your boys down there. Need to look after our sponsors.
Yep.
First game we're going to look at is Edie versus Mornington. We've got the great man sitting right here from Mornington. Mate, in front most of the day, and just, 14 points in front, 10 minutes to go, and just couldn't get there, but didn't hand you 2 points.
Yeah, we'll take it. It's a bit of a funny one. Everyone knows how people feel after a draw, but I don't know. Probably I said it earlier today that 2/3 of the boys were pretty disappointed and flat, but 1/3 were happy that we'd matched it with a side that's sitting in the in finals calculations. They're a good side, and Gammers will agree, mate. That's a really hard game to win at their ground. I mean, we play on a small ground as well, which helps. But credit to the boys. I've said this all year, and I'll say it again: is we debuted another 2 on the weekends. That's 16,
fantastic,
and we had 7 of them, 7 under 19s in our seniors. So probably that's been our toughest challenge this year. Is that people talk about bottom 7. We don't relate it as bottom 7. We just talk about youth. So we've had that's the most we've had in our side this year. 7 in one side. We debuted a ruckman on the weekend. And they stood up. Caldecott stood up. Wonderly stood up.
Yeah, fantastic. Young Angus Rowler, great to see him at the best.
Yeah, Gussie's having a cracking year, and Kai Owens just keeps doing what he's doing. And Matty Jones at 37, he looks like he's 20. But we're going to keep backing and we're going to keep playing these kids. And that game gave us a lot of belief because that's a really good side. And granted that they were missing a couple of players, but obviously we had a couple missing as well. So I sort of, going out there, I genuinely felt like this game was a real 50-50.
Yeah.
Turns out it was when you get a draw.
Absolutely so.
You know what I like about this result is it's verifying everything you've said this year. Like, you're bringing your juniors up, you're bringing younger players up, you're competing every week, you think you're a really good chance every week, which we all do, but that verifies against good opposition. And the other thing I like is, again, with new players coming in, you've rectified your starts over the last 2 or 3 weeks as well, which has put you in great positions in games.
Yeah, and that's been a big challenge because our starts weren't great, but our third quarter wasn't great either. So we changed up how we went out at halftime, and that certainly made a difference there. And we felt we got 4 quarters on the weekend. So we feel like we've turned a corner, and obviously, we'll have a big game coming up against Sorrento at home, which we're going to throw the kitchen sink at because we honestly think that this is very much a winnable game for us at home. And on another note, our under-19s lost their first game for the year on the weekend. They didn't just lose; they actually got belted.
Yeah, right.
But which is a good thing. I mean, we've got 7 of them in our senior side. There was about another 7 missing, so they had about 14 missing, which is a lot of players.
Okay.
But what happened there was with the depth we've had that we're sending out to Tyab and sending a few down to Sorrento, all those boys got the opportunity to pull on a Mornington jumper this weekend. So we played a lot of those younger kids who haven't been getting it. They've been training with us, but haven't been getting a chance. Yeah, okay. And they got belted by a really good Edie under-19 side. But it was a wake-up call for our 19s too, who were running around at training. Yeah. 8 and zip, and all of a sudden now they're 8-1. Our reserves have a good win. They've won for a while. And our seniors have a good outing. So it's a bit of a reverse of the tables on our 3 sides this week.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Macca, I watched the replay a couple of times, and your ruckman, under 19 ruckman. Tell us a bit about him and how we got. This is his first match.
Yeah, Caleb, folks. So Caleb came to us from Hastings the year before. He'd played a year there and then came across. So he came across as a 4-pointer to us, but it's probably held us back a little bit on playing him because of that 4 points. We just haven't had enough. We've used 42 a fair bit all year, so it's been a challenge for him. He probably should have played 2 or 3 by now, but he went up against Brown and he held his own.
Arguably one of the premier ruckmen in the league, and I reckon he held him.
Yeah, fantastic.
He got touched up in just out of body position a couple of times.
Yeah,
but
I felt safe with him though. Like we had Big Hicks up forward grabbing him as well, which sort of freed him up as well. But Caleb's been training with the senior squad for about probably 8 weeks now. So he's been doing a body of work up against Owens, sometimes in the ruck, up against Credlin, up against Hicks. He's been thrown to the wolves a little bit at training, so we knew he'd be ready. And huge challenge for him up against Brown, and he stood up.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I was going to mention Credlin. I mean, you've got a lot of those young boys coming through, as you mentioned. What a great experience for them to be around Credlin's experience, on the ground is just to be exposed to that is priceless.
100%. Credlin's amazing, and we'll sit in before games in the tiered seating. We'll be looking at footage, and we'll be doing stuff on a Tuesday and Thursday night preparing for the Saturday. And Credlin will be he's a coach.
Yeah,
that guy will coach. I know he's got young kids, but at some stage he's going to go into 100%. He will.
Yeah,
he literally coaches while he's there. He's an extension of Josh and I, and then you see it out in the ground as well. And Jones is the other one. Jones is slowly finding his feet with us, and I mean in regards to leadership and wanting to do that coaching part, because you come into a brand new club, even though he's 37, he's quiet and trying to work out everybody. He's a pretty funny bloke, Jonesy, and now he's starting to do a bit of coaching as well, which is fantastic. We need that with with all those kids.
Awesome. The next game to take place was Frankston YCW playing Now I tip Langwarren here because I just love the Langy boys, but they probably didn't fire too many shots. 15-6, 96 to 8-9-57, a fairly resounding win by YCW at home.
Celebrating Byron's 250th.
Yeah, it's what an effort.
Yeah.
250th, and how many premierships, Byron? 8?
23.
20. It's an amazing effort, but another really solid effort, just like the way YC are working into the season, boys, don't we?
Yeah, I had some friends at this game and spoke to them about it today and just said it just looked like probably a team that's a bona fide top 3 team against a team that's probably trying to get into the top 5. There was a gap in class. I think Langwarren had a real red hot crack all day. It's just YC are really going now.
Yeah, they're going pretty well. I mean, it's a good test for Langy. It was a good test for those young boys to come against YC at home and sort of got what they copped their whack there, and you move on, don't you? You just sort of watch those tapes over and over again, Gammers, don't you? Just to educate those.
Well, I think Beardy's really teams. Happy after half time. It's a 6-goal game each after half time. So it was just the class and the way they started that was the real difference. And that's what I got told. It was just the first half of the game was effectively over. But to Beardy's credit and Langwarren's credit, they really fought it out and halved the second half, which is all you can do.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
And Mel Vogue looked like he played that one too. He hasn't played much this year because he's been to Pies.
So
that's handy. And I noticed too on their side, because when we played him, I've coached against Harry Money a bit, and last few weeks they've had him as private player. And for a while there, we had to watch the footage to work out whether Harry was actually playing. And then, because you want to get a matchup right on him. And now he's actually got his name in there, but he's had a pretty good year too. He's a real hard matchup, Harry, and he's a good fella too.
So next game I'm going to move on to is Mount Eliza and Pines. Before we do that, we had Rowan Bleecker organised for Coach's Corner. There's been a slight problem there with Rowan, and that'll be divulged later on as we go through the ensuing weeks. But the great Rikki Johnston stepped into his shoes, Gammers, and he's going to be here. Bit of footy royalty just stepping into the room.
Yeah.
Fine and nice.
Geez, he must be
Apart
excited.
From you two.
Did you wash that hat?
The hat actually
he might bring
never get. It's like the baggy green.
Okay,
never gets washed.
He should be bringing you a new.
I thought you were up and about
You
tonight.
just don't touch it. But Rikki will be with us shortly. He was on the train at Chelsea when I called him. He said, "Yeah, no worries, Neil. I'll come in and give you a cutout." So that was really nice. Mount Eliza, 19-13, 127, way too good for the Pines. 8-11-59.
Jeez, and
whackety whack.
Stats wise, pumped them by 100 disposals as well.
Yeah, it was a
10 goal.
I didn't see it, but
10 goal third quarter. Wow,
quite a resounding win by the boys, which we can pull that apart with Rikki when he's here. But
They're going now, aren't they? They're
Can
starting to show.
can the boys push for a top 3 spot?
They've
Question for you.
They've literally had 30 shots at 10 after quarter time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, looks like at quarter time it's reasonable. Pines are up by 8 points quarter time.
Yeah.
So whether there's a scoring in there, I don't know. I wasn't there. There wasn't scoring in their game. But that's after quarter time.
Yeah.
Put the foot down.
We know that Pines have got some injury worries, particularly with their more experienced older players, and it's obviously they're blooding some kids through necessity. But so am Eliza. So good win for the boys at home. So we'll pull that apart with Rikki some more when he gets here. But can they push for top 3? Can I ask you? You're in Division 1. Can the Manly boys push for top 3?
I think they can, but they've got to have a little bit go right because they're sitting in
Gotta
4 wins.
It's got to keep winning.
Yeah. So you're talking top 3.
I'm talking top 3.
So they're 2.
That's where you got to win it from.
They're 2 wins away from that. Really.
Yeah.
Respectively, their percentage is pretty good.
Yep.
So I reckon they can.
Yeah.
I
Getting
think
some
they can.
personnel back now.
Yeah.
I spoke to Rikki Saturday morning. He was pretty happy with the guys coming back in. And it means the key pieces can go in place where they play best.
Because you look at
Tom goes back, Freeman goes back where he belongs and that sort of stuff. So
100%.
interesting.
You look at the sides above them like Dramana, Edie and Langy. Edie, we obviously drew with Edie and Langy have lost. So the door might open. They're going to get all them again.
Yeah.
The draw's funny, actually, because we've played Edie twice. So everyone's played someone twice. So that obviously might have been their second go at Pines, possibly. Yeah. So they're going to get another go at everybody else.
Yeah.
I think they will finish third.
Yeah, do you?
Yeah,
Okay,
well, look,
right.
I don't want to discredit. I guess I can the Div 1 team, so I don't play against them. But
you can.
Langwarrin look like they're falling. EDS have just probably faltered a little bit in the last few weeks.
Maybe plateaued a tad.
It's Dramana and Mount Eliza fighting for third for me.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And the top two are the top 2. I think they'll just keep going further ahead. Yeah. A bit like Div 2. So
yeah.
Well, so they are 600 out and a couple wide.
Around past the clock tower, so as you suggested, and just showing in the whip.
Yep.
Have a little look at that. I'm going to whack you with that unless you get going.
I guess the other thing to look at that in that ladder too is that you've got their YC are 23% ahead of Mount Eliza.
Yeah.
So you're not only you've got that massive gap of 3 wins plus 23%. Yeah, I reckon Gavin's a spot on. It's going to be a long chase for the top 2, but its third spot is well and truly open.
No, you're dead set right. That wraps up the Division 1 side of things, but it would be remiss of us to talk about Adam, our host, and where is he? Wow. He just sort of texted and said, "Look, I just can't do it."
Was it just a text of?
I just can't. I'm caught in traffic, fellas. Sorry about that. And
was it just I couldn't be bothered tonight?
No, he's got a few things going on, but the poor bugger, he's going to be fine. But
I've got a few things going on, but
you got a lot going on.
Oh, I'm here. I don't know.
I've got a feeling he was getting a kilt size for the Highland Games.
No, we miss him greatly because a host I ate.
You're doing well.
But we're
doing well.
But we're getting. I'm a bit excited. Rikki's coming.
I was concerned. I was concerned when I saw you in the seat, but when you said Rikki, I thought, you're glowing.
Hey, wow. God Almighty! That wraps up the Division 1 footy show for Mornington, Frankston, Toyota, and Rosebud. Rikki's just walked in now.
Oh, Jesus. Look at your posture change.
We might go to a break, but we're going to preview round 10 in Division 1. And,
yes, we previewed round 10. I did forgot that. So, gee, Gammers.
Well, I'm not the host.
I'm trying. I said to you both before, just chip in when you have to.
You're starstruck.
So we might go to a break from some of our sponsors,
and we'll come back.
Correct.
Good on you. We'll come back with the look at round 10 in Division 1.
Nestled on the beautiful Mornington Peninsula, Sharmac Lodge offers a peaceful 6-bedroom retreat in Rye for short-term stays for adults of all ages living with disability or illness. Overnight or day stays are available 7 days a week with tailored care provided around the clock. Guests can also participate in daily activities on the peninsula, making it a perfect getaway. Rest easy knowing your loved one's care is personalised to their needs. Finally, a short-term respite solution that brings peace of mind and can be funded under your home care package or NDIS funding. Book a tour today with the welcoming team at Sharmac Lodge. Visit aftercare.com.au or search Sharmac Lodge today. Let their family help your family.
Welcome back to the Halftime Heroes, and a little bit, the panel just got a little, I reckon it doubled in intelligence just with one person walking. Rikki J, Thanks for coming in, mate. Those
Yeah.
earpieces, they are, mate. They're not worth two bob. They are not worth two bob. The earpieces. But thanks for coming in very short notice, mate. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. So you're just in time for the Divi 1 preview for next week, and you can help us out with that, Rikki, with a bit of decent intel. Be very nice. Be very nice.
Jeez.
First game we're going to look at is EDS versus YC down at Edie's postage stamp. How do we see that one playing out, boys?
I reckon it'll be a good game, actually.
It'll be fresh.
Obviously, they, we played them on the weekend, and they're always hard to beat there. But if you can get off to a good start against them, and YC are playing some good footy, so that'll be the challenge for Edie. Will be to hang in the game in the first quarter. I reckon if they can hang in the game in the first quarter, they are hard to beat there. And Frankston's coming off the back of a big ground; it changes everything.
Yeah.
So Edie might be possibly disappointed about drawing with us, but at the end of the day, they might get a couple back. I think they're close. I think Gallucci's close to playing. I think Vickery might have missed because he coaches elsewhere on the weekends.
He's Coates League. And then you don't know what Pendlebury's doing. Has he done injury?
I don't know.
He rests.
He
rested last year as well.
Yep.
So
right.
those three ins will make a huge difference.
On that
side.
ground.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that I think first quarter will give us a good gauge on that, but YC are travelling beautifully.
Do you reckon the YC boys have got so much VFL talent within their group? Do you reckon that the size of the ground, they play so many different grounds all over the state, do you reckon the size of the ground matters to them? Rikki, do you reckon they just adjust automatically these days?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is definitely easier for the sides to play on the small grounds often to build a game plan around that. I know when I was at Dramana, we would go off the basis that we made our home ground a bit of a fortress. And if we can win at home, you're halfway home. So the way they defend the small ground is EDS, but obviously are really attuned to doing that. So I think YC are a really experienced, mature side, so they're going to adjust wherever they go. Vickery was a big handful for us the day we played EDS, and that was probably the difference in the end. So he's obviously going to be a big part of the picture, but both good sides, both going to be roundabout.
Okay. Tips, please.
Interesting too. I was going to say, I don't know about Rick whether you do this or not, but when I coached Beaconsfield, we had an MCG size ground. So when we come up against smaller sides, I always brought the cones in and trained differently. Yeah. Do you do that?
We do that, yeah. So we try and do that. We've actually got some different defensive stuff. We run on smaller grounds as well. So it's not always easy. And talking about the VFL guys, it's a challenge because you don't have them there at training.
Yeah.
You run them through different structures and setups. So, we've had times this year where we get there on a Saturday and work out really quickly that it's just not working because we haven't had the blokes on the track. So, but definitely when our ground compared to a Mornington is it's a drastically different size deck.
No, good point. Tips, who wins this one, boys?
Frankston YC by 20.
Yeah, I reckon YC by 3 goals. Yep.
Okay.
Rikki? Yeah, I'll go with YC as well. Just.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're just rolling along YC, just beating the teams they have to beat, aren't they? And just sort of rolling through the year quite nicely and building as they go. Next one I'm going to look at is Leigh versus Rosebud. Not a bad game of footy. This one I expect Leigh to bounce back pretty hard, but Rosebud look mighty tough, don't they? Mighty tough.
Sorrento pushed them for a good portion of the game at Rosebud the other day, and I watched the way they played and they held the football a little bit more off Rosebud, which will be interesting to see whether Langwarrin do that as well. Langwarrin use their whole ground. They use the width of that. So it's obviously a bit bigger ground than Rosebud. So, Langy probably pushing, but geez, Rosebud are flying.
We were celebrating Langwarrin at the start of the year. They got those close games, but the anomaly for me is, yes, they're third on the ladder, but they've conceded at least 10 more goals than any other team in the top 5, at least. And then when you talk about the top 2, it's getting up to 30 goals more to Rosebud. So even though it's first v third, I don't want to put Langy in the ground. It doesn't feel first v third to me. It feels like a team that's scoring well, defending well against a team that's probably just hanging on a little bit. And I think Rosebud might just do a little number on Langy this week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I think Langy had that huge confidence boost of getting over the line on those wins, and you ride that high, and it's hard to match up the form lines because you probably need that one time through to work out where everyone lies. And I think the other big part of the puzzle is depth in lists. So, as bodies start to drop off throughout the year, sometimes what you see in the back half is very different to what you see in the first half. And I think Rosebud have depth. I think they've got it in spades, and they've had some good ins through the VFL guys and different guys coming at different times. So they'll be a challenge, definitely. And I think they're humming along, and it'd be good to see Langwarren push them, but I'm not sure they're there at the moment.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Next game I want to look at is fresh off the press with you, Rikki, is Pines versus Dramana. And you comment about depth and sort of the mid-season ruts a little bit, but Pines are just sort of going through that now, aren't they? Missing some older, more senior bodies, and you expose them on Saturday, and we'll talk about that a bit later. But you would expect Dramana to be too good for Pines?
Yeah, just an observation from Saturday. I'm not sure how well. So Russ Gabriel played his first game back, but I'm not sure how he's got through that game. He didn't look like he was moving too freely. Right. So whether he gets up on the weekend or not, I'm not sure. But that'll be a big thorn in the side for Pines, I'd imagine, because what Billy can do and what he did. I think he had 40 against us, and he's a fair way ahead in the most important player in the league.
Yeah, the MVP.
In what he can do. So, look, Dramana's top 5 are as good as any, and they show that week in, week out. It's probably the same with them, what their bottom 5 can do come later on in the year. So I still think they'd be too strong for Pines at this point in time.
It just looks like a team on the rise versus a team that might be on the slide, doesn't it? A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Even at home, like we've plugged Pines at home, and they've lost a few of those games at home. So, look, Dramana looked pretty good in the last month. I think they get this done pretty easy.
I think you'll find Sammy Fowler. I was chatting with a couple of boys today. Sammy Fowler's back pretty shortly. Could be this week. Riley Davis is another one. Billy Quigley's about 4 weeks away. So they've got a few coming back, and so they're a pretty handy side. And shout out to Ryan Morrison too. I was having a chat with him after we played him.
Oh yeah,
religiously listens to this show.
Does he really?
Loves it.
He's the one.
He loves it.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
I did see a video of Rat Fowler at the Isle of Capri or something today.
Yeah.
So they're flying him back in for the Pines game, I reckon.
Apparently.
Jesus.
So are we putting Pines? Are we putting them in the rebuild category now? Have they fallen into a rebuild category because they've got some long-term injuries, Rikki?
Yeah, you never write them off.
No, we're not writing them off.
They're
a bit of a mixed
proud side.
Yeah.
Some of the older boys they got off the park at the moment are pretty integral to what they're doing.
Yeah,
so
years
you
of
take them
experience.
out, and it gets hard. So it's going to be tough. I spoke to Paddy after the game on Saturday, and probably whoever lost between the two of us was probably going to find it tough for the rest of the year. But you never write them off.
No. So you write them off at your peril.
So as Spook said last week, the dengue fever's probably gone down to a common cold now, has it? With Pines.
Possibly.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we don't get Pines-itis anymore.
No, I'm not saying that. Just it could be
doesn't happen.
Dengue fever down to a common cold.
No, we don't. Next game I want to look at is Red Hill. Play the boys up at Mount Eliza, up on the hill. Rikki, there's a little bit of a test going up there, mate. It's never easy up there with Jamie's lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we know we're in for a big game. And we just can't afford to have a letdown after, we're starting to build ourselves back up now. And I know how easy it is to just have that 1 week where you don't show up and it comes apart. So, I think as far as the ladder goes, I don't think they're as bad as what the ladder probably reflects. And it's probably a really good reflection of Division 1 as a whole. There's competitive games every week and you've got to come to play. So, look, up there, they're probably a different proposition again, and it'll probably be wet and cold and the rest. So, we'll have to bring our A game, absolutely. But, this is one that we really need.
Yeah. Is that the biggest ground, player? Is that the biggest ground in the comp?
I think
it just seems to go for like acres.
Yeah. And it's exposed as well.
It is,
Well, the Bureau of Meteorology are tipping a sunny 17 degrees, but we know how that changes on the flip of a coin. So sunny weather predicted up there.
Yeah, fantastic. So our halftime heroes selection table match of the day is Mornington playing Sorrento because we think Mornington's up and about, and we know they're up and about. We reckon they're going to roll Sorrento.
Oh, do we?
We do. Okay. We do. We spoke before.
Let me check a few things.
But Mornington at home, a great opportunity to bounce back after a draw. A little bit happy, a little bit disappointed,
Yeah.
but you can come back with a bit of sting in the tail.
Yeah, as we said, 14 points up with 10 to go. We would have hoped to have won it, but
Yeah.
we'll take it for now and just keep the 2 points and bag it. But we need to get that win on the board. You can't just hang on like we did last year and sail in by 2 points. That's not the plan. So Sorrento's a big opportunity for us. We got them last year, and we would hope to get them again. We know like their midfield's deep as anything. Like their top six is as good, if not better, than everybody's.
Yeah.
So we'll do a fair bit of work on that top six and work out who we need to stop and what work we need to put in. But and then we'll back those kids that we've been backing and get them on our home deck. We're up and about. The boys we had a really good night. We had our mid-year ball after the draw, and it's a good feeling around the club. So we might have a couple of blokes back this week, but selection will be pretty tough, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. How did the Susovich perform at the Sus boys at the
he was pretty
mid-year
placid.
ball?
He was pretty placid, Timmy.
Was he?
He's been jumping on a few heads out there. We call it Timmy time.
Right.
He has a bit of Timmy time out there. So he's actually been on fire. And I don't know if you've seen a bit of footage of him lately. You know, Bo McCreary at Collingwood, who always sneaks up on blokes and gets them behind. Timmy's doing a bit of that on Saturdays. So he's got a bit of speed, Timmy, when he wants to have it.
That's a Susovich trait, mate, coming from behind.
I'm not saying.
Well, it comes from a long line. I come from behind us.
That's the chromosome says full forward. That's all. That's where the chromosome comes from.
I think Jared Hicks wants him that close because Jared can't get up that high, and Timmy uses him for a bloody ladder.
He does. I'll just reflect back to the match because it's not all about the Susoviches, but Ryan Clark, Tom Cameron, and Dylan Clark in the top 10 for disposals in the league.
Yeah.
So they've got a mission on Saturday, but I'm feeling very confident. I've had a chat to the bank manager about mortgaging the house, and we'll just see how things pan out.
Well, can I just can you show me how surprised your face will be if Adam Tomlinson just rolls in with the bag over the shoulder?
It's the last thing I want to happen.
Yeah,
in all honesty, like your plan.
Don't tell me they've got to buy.
I actually hadn't thought about him until you just said it then, but I did hear that he rocked up on Pines, and there was a little bit of a surprise.
Well, I might be living here.
Seriously got
I'll take you on that bet if he plays. I might be living here next week.
So what's the what's the buy? North Melbourne.
Oh,
check it up.
You're about No, I reckon they've had their buy.
You're about to lose your house.
Yep.
I actually watched that vision to just prepare for Pines, and they played Sorrento the week before, so we watched it. And he had 43, but it looked like he had about 5 more seconds ball in hand than anyone else.
Amazing, that.
He was unbelievable. He's a big boy. Yeah.
He won't play. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but I just...
I wasn't going to sleep.
To keep you awake.
I actually wasn't going to sleep tonight. I've got enough worries with the Clarks, and I'm spending a lot of time on them.
It was like when Frawley rocked up for Devon. Just ruined my year.
Yeah.
I'll just cancel the SMS to the bank manager.
Well, that's a wrap for our preview of round 10 coming up, and we're slowly getting through the show. Boys, how do you think it's going? It's all coming together,
I think you've been best on today.
You really?
Job. I think you've been really good today.
Adam, we nervous?
No, I'm not actually.
You don't take compliments very well, do you?
Not very well at all, because I know you're full of shit. I know you're better than that. We're going to take a short break.
Oh, but hold it. There's
and we're not going to be back.
No, we'll be back very shortly. But Lou Meager has.
Lou, yes.
So she has an event this weekend. I'm pretty sure that we're getting ready for, and it's the Vinnie CEO Sleep Out. We'll put some details up on the screen. She's participating in that.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get some info out to the
good stuff,
the family, and just keep them on. Donate. We'll give you some information down the bottom there. But again, a large number of people. It's just one night, one cardboard box, soup, snacks, and a very hot and very best of company.
Sounds like the Mount Eliza club rooms.
It does on a good night.
So you've got cars parked out the front of there. But we'll put some info up there for Lou and a great cause, and we'll share that amongst the Halftime Heroes.
Very good. We love that sort of stuff. So we're going to take a short break and be back with the Division 2 side of things. That's a wrap for the Division 1 footy show, and we'll be right back with this great man here in Coach's Corner after the break.
Nestled on the beautiful Mornington Peninsula, Sharmac Lodge offers a peaceful 6-bedroom retreat in Rye for short-term stays for adults of all ages living with disability or illness. Overnight or day stays are available 7 days a week with tailored care provided around the clock. Guests can also participate in daily activities on the peninsula, making it a perfect getaway. Rest easy knowing your loved one's care is personalised to their needs. Finally, a short-term respite solution that brings peace peace of mind and can be funded under your home care package or NDIS funding. Book a tour today with the welcoming team at Sharmac Lodge. Visit aftercare.com.au or search Sharmac Lodge today. Let their family help your family.
Welcome back to the Halftime Heroes, and as mentioned before the break, the coaching, it's a bit of a moving feast, the coaching for the way things are going with coaches these days. So more will be divulged in the ensuing weeks. But got a great feeling tonight, and Rikki, thanks for coming, mate. Again, it's great to have you here, and this is we're not doing the whole
Why not?
Cone of silencing, because that's Adam's thing, and I don't want to step on his
I think
toes.
he's copyrighted it too.
Eh?
Copyright.
He's copyrighted the cone of silence, so we'll just
This will be the blanket.
correct. Yeah, but Rikki, mate, thanks for coming in. We want to talk to you about how last year finished up. We all know it was what a great end to the year for the Mount Eliza Footy Club. The slow start to this year, and that sort of stuff. But I'm going to leave it up to these boys, who are the coaches, to drill down on those things a little bit, because you've been there and you've done it. You've felt it, Gammers.
Well, I'm there right now.
Yeah, I know you are. But a great finish to last year, mate. And it was one that you had to win a whole lot. It was a bit like this year. We had to win a whole lot of games late in the season to get to position ourselves where we did. I'm going to say we now. That's all right with you.
Yeah, it's fine.
So congratulations, mate. It was we haven't really spoken to you since then formally, but what a great feeling around the club.
Yeah, look, it was probably expectations were that probably came ahead of time, really. Like, the reality was I don't think we ever set out to win a flag year one.
Yeah.
A lot of things need to go well, and you need a lot of luck at the right time of year. And we had a good list to pick from, and we got hot at the right time. So I think if everyone's in that same boat where you're trying to finish somewhere in that top three, and then get it right at the right time of year, I think a bit went our way, which was good. So it was an awesome time at the club. Obviously, haven't had a success in a long time, and we had to break all those hoodoos that come with the club. And there's a lot of stuff out there about, and even the start of this year, we got it again. So, the boys get ahead of themselves. And so it's hard to rewrite kind of those things and build our own brand and culture. And I think bit by bit we're getting there. But it's going to take time. And awesome time for the club, and great for this young group to kind of get reward. They did a mountain of work through the preseason, super fit and super kind of engaged. We're very lucky in the way that we've got a lot of really keen young blokes that come, through the Coates League into the VFL system and then end up back at Mount Eliza. So they take their footy really seriously. They've come from those kind of elite pathways. They understand what it takes to train at the level and maintain their fitness. And we think that we attract those kind of people, which is good.
Yeah.
But obviously, coming back this year, it's hard to maintain, and it's if you're 5% off, you're probably going to get caught. So, we had some challenges through pre-season, just with guys kind of travelling and working and doing different things, and in isolation. And I said to the boys at the start of the year, in isolation, these things drift through. But when you've got quite a few different people with different things going on in life, it becomes a challenge. And I think that we probably showed that in the first kind of 4 or 5 weeks, where we just weren't ready to go round one. And I know being ready to go round one is not the be-all and end-all, but I think there were some really good learnings for a few of these younger ones that probably it's come really quickly, and you just think you're going to rock up, you're going to be better than others, and it's not the way it goes.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have a feeling? Did you feel that before round one? Like, shit, we're a bit iffy here.
Yeah, and I think between the footy department, we're having these conversations. Hey, we haven't seen our core. We've already got the challenge of the VFL guys, so we're missing kind of 10 of our better players for most sessions.
Yeah.
And then you factor in another kind of 7 or 8 senior players, and you've got 17 or 18 senior players off the track. So there's a big responsibility comes on the younger ones, and obviously it's harder for them to train at the standards that are probably Division 1 required. And I think we just got found out a little bit that we probably didn't do as much work as we needed to.
Yeah, okay.
You might have had a wedding early on too, didn't you?
We did.
Yeah.
Not you.
You lose your ruckman. Yeah.
Hopefully my wife is watching this. Yeah, so Duck had his wedding round one, and that took out, I think, 3 of our midfielders as well. So, look, these things happen, and it's one of those ones where I've had to adjust as a coach now because it's a very different landscape.
Yeah, it
when
is.
I played, it was
That was no go.
think that you never missed a game of footy. So it's a bit different now, and we've got guys travelling right now. So, and I've just had to swallow it, and that's the world we live in. So, but yeah, that definitely didn't help. That probably cost us a little bit early on, and then Duck went on his honeymoon, and he's obviously a big part of our program, not just with the way he plays, but he's a big presence, and he's a big leader, and he's the one that's got the hard edge to him. But yeah, he's back up and flying now, and I think he's a big part of why things are back on track.
And you say you guys won it earlier than what you thought. We felt that way too at Mornington when we got the DV2 flag. We sort of felt we probably needed a couple of years because you put a game plan into play, but you know as well as I do, it takes a few years for a game plan to come in and for the boys to 100% understand it and then execute it. You guys obviously got that in year one. We had to take our game plan in Division 1, and there still was teething problems in the first year. We feel like we're getting better at it this year. Did you change much? I mean, I've watched you a fair bit, so I don't need you to unpack it, but was there much of an adaptation in regards to your game plan that won it going into this season, or you're trying to sort of master it a bit better than what you did last year?
A bit of both, I think. So some minor adjustments in the way we wanted to move the ball. So it was a really big role focus kind of year one, was getting guys to buy into roles. So it's the age-old problem where you've got all these talented kids that were the best midfielders that come in and want to play those roles, and it's really loose. When you watch a game of under-19s footy, often you'll just watch 18 players run around. They'll be in their sixes, but they don't really understand roles, and they don't value roles. And that was going to be one of the big challenges was, A, can we get these guys to buy into a team defence? And then B, if you play a role and it's not the role you're used to, are you going to play it well, and are you going to really value it? And I think once you start to win games and guys realise that it's a way into the team, then you've got something there. But that was always going to be the challenge, and I think they took to it like ducks to water. But we still have challenges now when young players come in and you're asking them to come out of, say, Coates League and play a role. It doesn't come overnight.
Yeah. So this year, Rikki, after winning, you're now the hunted, and you have got a largely younger list. You've got the senior players in there, but how have they handled that? Was that part of the slow start, like just adjusting to that? The reason I ask is we obviously lost that grand final to Leigh in 23, but it's almost like no one knew anything about Summy, and then, all right, we're putting some time into Summy in 24, and we started horrendously in 2024 and went 3-6 before we got on a run. Like, has that changed, and were the boys ready for that?
Well, it was a big part of the messaging in the preseason was kind of all of a sudden people believe you're a better individual player if you are part of a successful team. Your name starts showing up on boards and you make team of the year. You're not necessarily a better player, but you're considered to be a better player. And all of a sudden all the research is going into how we're playing. And so that was part of the conversations. We've got to get better. We've got to keep getting better because the finished product, and I actually think the start of this year has been a blessing in disguise. Like our 19s have lost a couple of games and they haven't done that for a long time. You need to do a bit of soul searching. This is where you find out who's in the boat, who's prepared to work. You know, the ones that don't, the ones that kind of fracture away, they're the ones you want to know now rather than at the business end. But definitely there's sides that have thrown some different stuff at it this year because we've got exposed form now and we're all watching the same vision and we're seeing the same things. And, you know, the Lockie Williams and the Finn Baines, it's like you got to keep getting better because you get more and more time. You get the number one defender and you get the tag, and that's part of the business of being a good side.
Absolutely. I guess my next question is, how hard is it to cover your top line players? So like at the start of the year, you had 3 or 4, maybe more players missing from that premiership side. I know for our team, if we miss our top 3 and 4, like we're not favourites against anyone. So how do you message that, and how do you prep your younger players to come in and try and cover that?
Yeah, I'm not sure there's too many teams that could cover those types of losses. So The thing about your better experienced players is the gap between their best and worst is very predictable. So you know what you're working with. Even bringing in younger players and selling them on the basis that they're getting an opportunity to play at a senior level, the belief's not there. So when things go bad, they generally go really bad, which is all part of the learning experience. But our senior 3 or 4 are also our on-field coaches, essentially. So Damien, Damo Machete and Chris Carey, they're running it out there. So when they're not out there, we just can't cover it. So it is very hard to cover, but I think it does give other boys a bit of an opportunity to step up as well, that they wouldn't otherwise get, and find their voice. And it's been a great opportunity for Nelma to have a bit more voice. And so it is definitely a challenge. And I'm not sure there's many clubs on the peninsula that you take your top 3 or 4 out that are going to be consistent to be able to play at a high level.
I was just looking, and you said it before, because I did notice your under-19s for the first time in a long time. They're sitting 5th on the ladder. That's a good challenge for them, because you've always been sitting at the top. Everyone talks about that. You've had this breeding ground of under-19s come through, and all of a sudden now you find yourself in 5th spot. Red Hills at 6th spot, same amount of points, and then it's a fair drop away to Sorrento. So there's 6 good sides in that under-19s. One of them's going to miss out. That's a challenge for your young boys. My question to you around that is, do you know how many under-19s you blokes debuted last year, and have you debuted any this year?
So we have debuted a couple this year. So Harry Doughton has played this year. Taz Bevins played this year. He actually played a game last year. But the under-19s, the challenge for us as a club is that we've got, I think, 12 private school kids, and then we've got 9 or 10 Coates League kids between Chargers, Dragons and Stingrays. So they're coming and going at all different times. So when things are bad, we're scratching around for players.
It's a good problem to have, but it's hard to manage.
Yeah, when they're all there, you've got 8 or 10 missing out on a game. So,
so you're telling me you're coach, but you've got another full-time job.
we got all that going on as well.
But you can
but I actually think that it's a really positive thing that they're losing games. They're having to come to training and pick it apart and go. I think 2 years ago I went and watched them lose in a grand final against Langwarrin in the 19s, and it was like the heat came and they'd just been blowing sides off the park. You're not equipped to actually.
They're learning how to defend now.
Yeah, you just learn how to deal with adversity and have to fight your way through. So I think there's really good stuff in that. I don't buy too much into premierships in the 19s and the reserves. It's about developing good senior players. And, so I think there's some challenges, absolutely, and you'd see it as well. Like it's getting harder and harder to I guess keep younger players happy for longer, because there's a real want to play straight away, and those opportunities take time.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. We had a word Saturday morning down at Auskick. We see each other every Saturday down at Auskick, and you mentioned that you're getting a few back, and they're rolling back through as the weeks go by, and it means that the boys who play in. I mean, Tom Freeman's not a natural forward. He does a great job up there, but he'll go back now, will he?
Yeah, so he's gone back the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So we've actually been pretty lucky with some of the boys we didn't think we'd see a lot that have been with us a bit. So, there's still probably I think there's seven of the premiership sides not in at the moment. Maybe 1 or 2 of them won't come back. But over the next month, we'll get kind of 5 back. But that competition for spots is actually what fuels
100%.
Training.
And
we haven't had it so far. So, we're going in and picking sides, and we're saying he's not in great form, but we don't really have a lot to cover that actual role. Yeah. So that's what we're looking forward to is those boys that have to be uncomfortable each week knowing I've got to play good footy. Yeah. They're always looking over their shoulder. We haven't had that, so that's going to be a pleasant change.
Yeah, that Big Bill Anthony too kicked 3 or 4 3 on the weekend, which is good to have him down forward, isn't it?
So
he's a weapon.
So Ziggy Toledo, he's coming back from a knee, so he's probably 5 away, and Owen Williams might not get up at all this year, so he had surgery on a hip, so we've just had to kind of move things around, and it's been good. It's been good to find different players in different roles, and Will's taken that opportunity, and he's run with it.
That's fantastic, mate.
And we were talking before you were here too about where you could possibly finish. And given you're coming pretty hard right now, there's a good indication that, you know, there's a top two and then there's a third spot really open over the next few weeks. And Langley obviously lost on the weekend. Edie drew with us, and then you've got Dramana, who, you know, got to get a couple of players back soon, so it'll be on with between you blokes, I would think, sort of chasing that sort of top end, the double chance, you know, in the back end.
Yeah, and it makes for a good live competition.
It does.
You know?
It does.
It's you know, you sit down, you look at the ladder, and I can't remember a time where it's been so open.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Rosebud are the benchmark at the moment, and that's what everyone's chasing. But after that, you know, there's probably 6 teams that could finish in those next rungs, and you know, we're probably a step behind in the way that we've got ground to make up. So, you know, ideally you want to be coming into the final series being able to prepare that you're going to be in the final series instead of sprinting to the line. I know like a Somerville scenario last year where you're running all the way to the line, you're probably playing blokes that, you know, maybe nursing through injuries, and you get to those finals and you're not cherry ripe to go, and it's hard to get through that campaign.
Sus.
I was just saying, we've probably got 3 of the coaches here from a population perspective, you know, hold probably the most spectators in the league. I'd ask the 3 of you, how do you guys feel? How are you guys feeling? I mean, I suppose from a mental health perspective, and are you getting the support and all that? You rate it this year as being a similar year to last year and the year before, or have things changed?
I'll go for it. I think
very deep, Sus.
That's a
very deep.
I am.
I believe I think the coaching is getting significantly tougher over time. Like when I think back to when I first started coaching, and it was a lot more kind of you know, footy related, and I think now there's a lot more complexities around, you know, the wellbeing space. And you know, I look at our club particularly, we've got a big club, so you're maintaining lots of different relationships, and it's not always easy, and you don't always get it right. So, and coaching as well is a funny one. I remember, you know, having success down at Dramana, you've still got people telling you that you don't know what you're doing, and a lot of it is just personal kind of stuff that comes into play, and so you expose yourself to lots of different things, and you got to let a lot of it go, and that doesn't always bode well for me. I like to get along with people, and I like to be able to have a chat, and so there are challenges in that space, but we get lots of support, you know, and we've got our own little fraternity, and there's lots of guys you can kind of call on when things get hard. So, you know, I think it comes with its challenges, but you do it because you love it, and that's kind of we know what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah, I reckon that wellbeing space that's the biggest thing. I've been going about 14 years, but that was never there. Like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have. 10 years ago, I would not have dealt with a player. They wouldn't have even talked about it. They wouldn't have come and seen you because it was seen as a weakness. Whereas these days they talk about it. So I find you get a lot more of that. So you're doing a bit of 50-50. You're coaching the boys, but you're doing a bit of wellbeing stuff. You're getting phone calls about how a bloke's going in their form, or a bloke who's playing the twos who thinks she should be in the ones, and you're having that conversation with him. But then you get the odd ones who are struggling from a wellbeing point of view, and you know you're keeping that under wraps because you're trying to work through that with a player. And you wouldn't have done that years ago. So I just think it's from a time point of view, it's a lot bigger than what it used to be. But I can only speak personally for Mornington. We get a lot of support from up above, so the footy club sets itself up quite well, and we can channel some of those boys off to other avenues. But Josh and I generally share that a bit, and have certain players that we. And I suppose I can speak from a co-coaching point of view too. It probably helps in that regard because we are sharing the load. So when something comes up, it'll be one of us that takes it. But it's certainly the landscape's changed. But I think there's a lot more support around. But certainly from a coach's point of view, you have to be a hell of a lot more than just a coach.
Yeah, I echo that. I think it's the best and worst job. It can be the best and worst job in 8 days. You can have a win one week, and then 7 days later you have a loss. And I think I'll speak personally from our club. Our club hasn't had a lot of success in nearly 40 years now, and there's an expectation that we will be good. And I think that when I took the job in 23, and we had an influx of players, and it was a really good feeling. And then we obviously lost that grand final, and it was almost like, we've done everything we can, and then we had a big breathe out, and it was really hard to back up in 2024. And that definitely took a toll on me. I found last year very challenging mentally and from a well-being point of view, because you feel a sense of responsibility. It's like, I guess it's probably a terrible analogy, but if there's a fire, the firefighter has to go, no matter how good or how bad they feel. And that's a bit like a coach at a football club. You have to front up. Doesn't matter how you feel or how things are going. You've got to talk to the sponsors. You've got to talk to the backers. You've got to talk to the committee. You've got to talk to your players, good or bad. And I think, this year the height of it for me personally was probably the Rye game. I put my head down, and it's probably the only time.
Could be a lonely place.
It's the only time in the 3 years I've been there that I didn't stay for a drink. And I was at home. I went into the club rooms. I did the awards, and I couldn't stay around. And I tried to dodge everyone, but a couple got me on the way out to the car park, and I said, I just don't have the answers right now. And that manifests the amount of rumours that come out of just saying that. By the time I got back to the club Tuesday, Gammers doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't got the answers. Are we looking for someone else? I'm like, I just can't talk about it now. It's like, I've tried, but we weren't very good today.
Footy clubs are full of history, aren't they? And if you come in and take over from someone who was dearly loved before you, it takes a fair bit for people to. They don't like change, in other words. So they don't accept you easily or readily, and you have to prove yourself over a number of
and there's a big human element as well. Like you go home to your family, and
correct.
You got to be. You can't be taking that home, but it's not hard not to take that home. You ride the highs and the lows, and you spend a lot of nights looking at the ceiling, wondering what you could have done differently. And those are the stresses. But you're right; it's you're just waiting for that next wave of good times to come, and it offsets it pretty quick. So you just got to get back out on that track on a Tuesday, and things get moving again.
Yeah, and I suppose after a loss too, you're spewing on Sunday. Like you can be around your family, but you're absolutely spewing about it. And then Monday, you're waiting for Tuesday to roll away, and you want to get out the track and start thinking about the following week and forgetting about the week before.
Absolutely.
And we were 1-7 going into the weekend, and it was great when we knocked off Red Hill, but shit, some of them have been long weeks, especially when we got pounded by Rosebud. But I don't know. I find you wear that pretty heavily, and it can get to you a bit. So I sort of find that when we lose, I am no good till Tuesday, and then I'm starting to reset and looking forward to Saturday when Tuesday comes around. But analyse.
We have chats about, are we the ones? Like 3 weeks ago, we had our coaching group going, are we actually the ones that can sell the message still? And we had a meeting with our leaders, and Leigh's going, it's not you, it's us. Like, we're listening, we're just not executing, which was nice to hear. And then we've gone and won a couple of games since. But you question, you're like, well, because I'm someone, if it's not me, I'm okay with that. Just let me know. Get the right person in here to get your success. Like, if we're wasting our time, we're wasting our time. I don't really like hanging around on a Saturday if we're just going to get belted because it's me. So that was nice to hear. But, you do. You question yourself a lot in this job, and you ride those wins, and you hope they come more often than not.
No, it's a good one, son. It's a very good, candid conversation, that one. And we'll work through, boys. We're going to wrap it up there. Just through time constraints. Rikki, thanks for coming in again. We do appreciate it at short notice, mate. You're always a bloody joy to listen to. We'll make sure the Manalizer people know that you've been on, because they wouldn't if it hasn't been advertised, but we'll make sure that gets out there. That's a wrap for the Coach's Corner. Thanks to Rikki J, and we'll be back after the break.
Nestled on the beautiful Mornington Peninsula, Sharmac Lodge offers a peaceful 6-bedroom retreat in Rye for short-term stays for adults of all ages living with disability or illness. Overnight or day stays are available 7 days a week with tailored care provided around the clock. Guests can also participate in daily activities on the peninsula, making it a perfect getaway. Rest easy knowing your loved one's care is personalised to their needs. Finally, a short-term respite solution that brings peace of mind and can be funded under your home care package or NDIS funding. Book a tour today with the welcoming team at Sharmac Lodge. Visit aftercare.com.au or search Sharmac Lodge today. Let their family help your family.
Welcome back to the Halftime Heroes. And, boys, it doesn't get any better than that. Those candid conversations at the end of coaches. Pretty good Coach's Corner, that one, Gammers, I thought.
Yeah,
probably, even though I didn't ask a question.
Second best one this year.
Second best one this year.
Yeah, that one's still sitting top. Gammers, that
was amazing. Jeez, it was good.
Sitting there very nicely with your M&D boonie on.
Yeah,
M&D 11, the right number too. Very nice.
Yeah,
it was last week, but still, never mind.
No, but really important round.
Oh,
so
mate,
it's keep wearing it.
Doubly important. It's there's no doubt about that. It's
Commish, what side are you tucking him in tonight?
Rikki
I like that.
can just...
That's for you, Gavin.
No, there's no taking that back. He's a smooth dude. We love him down in Manalizer. He was a ripper. Lucky to have him.
Still didn't bring you a new hat. I still reckon you should.
I've got a new hat, but it's like the bag. I just like the baggy green.
Is it true that he caught the train down here and then got off, obviously, and Paul Gurnham was on that train as well?
Oh, what would have been the dream carriage?
I don't
Talk
know,
about dream
I don't know
boat.
how
It's a dream
you didn't
carriage.
know about that.
Hey?
It was the caboose.
Wow.
It was the caboose.
Thank
my
God
gosh.
it made it here safely and there wasn't a problem or,
Oh, wow.
come off the
You would've-
rails or something. God, that would have been a
would have been there.
disaster.
You would have been there.
God.
Wow.
Body would have been bad. Right, enough of that stupidity. Straight into the Divi 2 footy show for Hens Teeth Tattoos down at Rosebud. And I know that Adam got some ink down there recently and it's come up quite nicely. And I think Spook was on his way to get some as well. And I think, Sus, you were talking about it.
Yes, but we've just had an update from Adam. He is getting a resizing on the kilt.
Is he?
Yes. And he's doing the
Fantastic.
caber toss at the upcoming Highland Games, we're told. So,
Maybe you get a tattoo of a kilt.
Oh, no, thanks.
the kilt he's looking at is a mini skirt.
Yeah, it
basically.
would be. It would be. Doing some terrible little legs too. Right, let's move into it. Bomb Beach took on Pearcedale at Bomb Beach, and Pearcedale were way too strong by 43 points, and that's a little bit. Bomb Beach were going okay. That's a little bit of a shot over the bow to the rest of the comp gammers.
Yeah, 28 shots to 18.
It's a lot of shots.
28 shots to 15. Yeah, it looks like this game, Pearcedale just flexed their muscles. And Eddie with 7, just re-announcing himself.
Yeah.
I think Cruz was 10 last week. So, yeah, it's a hard four line to shut down because if one doesn't get you, there's probably another 2 waiting. There's not many backlines in the comp that can cope with them. So when they win that midfield battle and get it down forward, they're tough and they score big.
You know, they're doing what they have to do, Pearcedale. There's no doubt about that. And it looks like they're just moving in and cementing second or third because it looks like first is pretty much done.
I think the top two on the ladder looks pretty settled with Frankston and Pearcedale, and the rest of us are fighting for 3rd to 9th, I think.
Next game to look at was Cribby. At Cribby took on Devon Meadows, and Devon were too good there to the tune of 17 points. So a good game of footy. Sash, your boys at Cribby just got a little bit wobbly.
Well, we heard during the week that AUKUS is dead in the water, so I'm jumping off Cribby now. They've lost the submarine.
Yeah, AUKUS doesn't look good, does it?
So,
but it's okay. Albanese's got a meeting with Trump. He'll make it. He'll make it right.
I thought they would have done a bit better, Cribby, but to the credit of Devon, they're just finding some room, especially with their young squad.
In the game at halftime, and that one there. But it looks like Jared Grant and Jai Block, 7 goals each.
Yeah.
14 off the 2 of them. Jai's a good player. He kicked goals against us last year. He's a really good player.
They're Frankston Bombers players.
Am I going ahead?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's rewind
That's
back.
okay.
Dean Kent, Jolly Hillis, Kai Williams, a big rep on Kai Williams there at Devon.
So I think, Sus, you know a fair bit about Crib Point, or you claim to. They're in front at 3/4 time of this game.
Yes.
So at home, I think they had the Rileys round for the MND, which was
very big
huge
day.
success, I hear, which is well done by that club.
Yeah, apparently they raised 80 grand just on the day or before the day, and raised another 80 in ensuing times after. It's awesome.
I think it's a very good win by Devon to go down there. We
Solid.
went down there 3 weeks ago and lost by a point. So Devon to go there and they grow a leg down there at the Crib Point Rec Reserve. So yeah, good.
Bang on 5 goals to not much. Yeah, that's a great statement from Devon. And that's,
no doubt.
And I think they're clearly the 3rd best team in the comp right now.
Again.
Now.
Yeah. Let's look at Rye. We're way too good for Coringal down at Rye, 14-15 to 7-5. A bunch of scoring shots again, but too good by 52 points. And ever improving Rye. I know Coringal have got some problems with personnel and injury and that sort of stuff, but good win by Rye. Solid.
Great win. They're improving out of sight. What Morey's doing down there is just fantastic. They've got good juniors. They've had good juniors for a couple of years now, and some of them are filtering through with some good recruits. And, you know, when they played us, they've got a really dangerous forward line if they get enough of it up there.
Yeah.
And they look like they've had a pretty good spread of goal kickers as well.
Yeah,
Did Hughes play against you blokes? Is he overseas?
Yeah, Hughesy played against us. He's missed ever since, though, so I'm not sure whether he's away or injured or otherwise.
He just hung around for you, Gammers, didn't he?
Yeah, they played their best for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Played well.
Seaford took on, talk about ever improving, Kev Lilacs Hastings at Seaford and got the job done. Hastings by 25 points. Gee, I tell you what, they're really finding some form mid-season, the Hastings boys. It's going very nicely.
Well, I tell you, the standout here is Cade Foster with 6 goals. He's an absolute weapon. So 6 goals he would have played as a mid-half forward. We always put a bit of time into him, and that's the difference on the scoreboard at the end of the day, 6 goals. But, yeah, a bit of a surprise, this one, I reckon, especially at Seaford. I think that would be Hastings' first away win for a while, I'm thinking. And Seaford seemed to be trucking along all right till then, so... Yeah,
saw some vision there of Hastings celebrating after the match as well. So they were doing pretty well.
And it's taken sort of 8 or 9 rounds for Kev to maybe shape them the way he wants to shape them.
Yeah, he's obviously playing well too. I doubt he would do the best, but he's been named in the best. I didn't think he would put himself in there. The Hewitt boys going all right too, Campers. I haven't seen them. They were good players.
Jake's really firing what I've heard in the last couple of weeks. And there was another one that came across my desk.
There's 3 in that side.
Yeah, Sean, Luke and Jake.
We've got some good young forwards as well. That Noah Kirikou, number 31, he's got a good set of hands as well. And they're building something quite good down there.
No, they are. Your boys, Summer, you hosted Tyre, mate, and got across the line by 77 points. Was it as easy as it looked on paper?
No. We started really, really well. I think we had 7 goals at quarter time, and I think we haven't kicked 7 goals in a game for a while, so that was nice. And we challenged our boys on that to make a statement at home because our form at Jones Road's been really poor. Tybe responded in the second quarter, and I think it was only a 4 or 5 goal game at half time, and I wasn't overly comfortable with that. But after half time, we played probably the best footy we've played this year, and it's the first time we've kicked over 100 points for the year. So, yeah, we take a bit out of that, and Tybe are obviously facing a challenging time.
Is it personnel? Have they got so many out that it's...
I think so.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
So I think
so they've had them out all year, these guys.
Jimmy kicked a few. He kicked 4, I think.
I see that.
He was a handful. They just seem to probably be a little bit skinny on personnel through the middle of the ground, and if you can get it forward on them, they just look a little bit unorganised, and I think that's due to lack of personnel and connection, and probably playing a couple of guys that they probably otherwise wouldn't want to be playing.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, they play with good spirit. Tybe, the Bungour Shield went on the line, and it was a willing game until probably late, where I think we banged on 8 goals in the last quarter, when the contest was probably dead.
Yeah,
you and I were chatting last time I was in, and I was saying to you how I reckon Marshall's such a tough matchup, 1 out. Did you do that with him? He's kicked 5.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So he's missed the last 3. So we've had a rotten luck with injuries, as a lot of clubs have. So yeah, we decided just playing 1 out in the square and see what he could do, and because he can take a tall, he can take a small, he just wrestles, and he actually kicked 3 stoppage goals, just burst through a 450 stoppage.
That's his go, isn't it?
He's very important to us, and he's a really good character. Once you get to know him, he seems like a bit of a larrikin from the outside, which he is, but he's a really good club person. And we welcomed him back with open arms.
What's the highest level of footy he's played?
I think it's only been
local.
Yeah. Yep.
Got a bit more in him, probably, isn't he? But he's
how
probably
old
just happy.
He's getting close to 30 now, I think.
Okay, right.
Yep.
The Summy boy through and through. Our selection table game of the round, thanks to Hen's Teeth Tattoos down at Rosebud, was Chelsea taking on Frankston, the mighty Frankston Bombers at Chelsea, and Frankston Bombers getting the job done by 57 points in a really convincing win, 18-17 to 10-8. Wow, they're the real deal, aren't they?
I'll jump back to that one because I jumped the gun on that one a little bit earlier. Obviously good side. And, I sort of thought Chelsea coming off the back of a grand final last year, you'd think that they would have primed themselves for this one, knowing that this is a side coming back that replace EDS. But, that's a pretty commanding result. I think looking at the game, half-time, 2 goals in it, Chelsea probably in the game. And but after half-time, they've just gone bang with those. With Jai and obviously Granny kicking 7 each, 14 between them. So very dangerous forward line, and they're well set up. And when you look at their points, they're a side that's backing the side that they went down with. There's not much. They haven't had too much to it. They obviously knew they were going to be knew they were going to be pretty handy, so they've gone down with a very similar side. And I think Sammy Glenn was probably one they added, but aside from that, there's not too much more than what we saw last year.
Is there a weakness, Gammers? Is there something that can be exposed in the Bombers, or just they're pretty complete?
No, there's not in our comp. There's not. I I think you've got to try and throw something at them. I'm not sure what that is. We've got them not next week, the week after.
Mm-hmm.
So when we had the weekend off, I actually took the chance to watch a couple of games just because I don't know them that well because they weren't in our comp.
Okay.
They've got quality players across each line. I think we've said on this show a couple of times that last week of last year's Div 1 season, it could have been one of 3 teams that come down. They were probably the ones that maybe shouldn't have come down in retrospect, but they did. And yeah, they're well and truly prepared for Div 2 footy. Are they unbeatable? Well, the ladder says yes, but I think you've got. I think teams might be beaten before they play them. That's you know, I'm hearing and I hear some murmurs. I think you've got to have your own plan for them. I don't think you want to get into their game where it turns into a shootout in the front half game. You've got to have your own plan, whatever that is, and back it in. So, will they lose a game this year? I'm not sure. Hopefully, they lose one to. Sunday at some point. We've got to play them twice yet. So,
Harnett hasn't been playing all year. He's just come back, so he's a massive in.
He's played 2 or 3, I think, hamstrings.
And watching him prior, he'd be the best ruckman in the comp, wouldn't he? He's a star.
I think he's the best player in the comp. They reckon, well, I'm just hearing around the comp that he'll win the medal by a long way.
Really? Yeah, okay. That doesn't surprise me.
He's ranking points on average at 161 and the closest is 140.
Yeah, wow.
Before we move into previewing round 10, something we didn't do for Division 1 because you guys didn't remind me.
Takeaways.
Oh, we didn't miss
Takeaways for this week's round of Division 2 footy gamers from you, please.
Oh, Hastings.
Don't mind it. Sus?
Oh, I'm going to say Seaford.
Yeah, good one. It's
I didn't like that one.
yet to be. Not much.
I'm going to say Pearsdale. Just pushing their necks up to say, we're here, Bombers. We're here, and we're not going to make it as easy as you think.
Yeah, mine. I worry about Tyab. I say this week after week, and I understand that they've had blokes out for the year. I mean, that's 9 rounds. Are they ever going to come back this year? And what sort of nick are they going to be in when they do come back? Where's it at? Where's it at? They really want. We need Tyab we need these guys in the comp.
I was really interested to hear you talk about your team because I know that your club supports Tyab's 19s.
Yeah.
And obviously that was a struggle this week because you had a lot out. So Tyab's 19s team only had 15 players, and we lent them 2 players to have a 17 game. So yeah, the problems go far beyond the senior team and the coach.
It comes down to the cold hard fact about demographics and where people live and where people want to play football.
Yeah.
Yep. So
I think that's the long and short of it.
Yep, and as if what Tyab need, and we'd love to give him, is a big housing estate that would hold 200 houses that sits out the back.
And businesses.
Yeah.
Like you look at the towns around that. Look, actually, we had this chat on Saturday afternoon after the game. You know, you got Hastings has got a town centre. Somerville's got a town centre. Crib Point is its own town, and they fight tooth and nail for that town. And then you got Tyab in the middle that's got a strip of takeaway shops, cafes, and a IGA, but not a real lot else. It must be terribly tough.
It's got a real a true country feel about it.
Really
when you
nice,
drive,
just a really nice country town.
They haven't even got a pub.
Even to Pearsdale, though, and they're doing all right.
Yeah, no, Pearsdale.
That is a challenge, though. I'm just looking at the 19s ladder in Divi 2, and that is a challenge because, we do send down a few of our boys that don't make our 19s down there to help them out, and it's a good relationship we've got with them. But when they're sitting where they're sitting on the ladder, and then you've got a Frankston Bombers sitting on top and their 19s are sitting on top, you can see the distance between, looking up and looking down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seaford's 19s are doing all right. Pearsdale's 19s are doing all right. And to credit Crib Point, their 19s are sitting in there too, which will hold them in good stead in the future.
Absolutely, 100%.
It is a tough slog with Tyab, but I think it comes back to that coach's stuff we were talking about before. You got to back someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Just put them in the role and back them.
Okay.
Sorry to go on top of that. It must be tough as well. Like we had a bottom age 19s team that's been belted by a couple of those sides, and then to have that result. I guess the one last question I ask you is, does that have a bearing on who and how you send players to some of these clubs you support based on the program and how they're going, or just like you guys are going here, you guys are going here?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So we pick our side. So we've got, when we go into the coaches' room, we've got 4 boards. So we've got the seniors, reserves, the 19s, then we've got our 19 reserves. We don't, it's based on the under 19s coach first coming to us and going, who do you want? Who are you taking? And we've got a squad already, so he has a fair idea. Then we shuffle down. The reserves coach will sometimes say, hey, I wouldn't mind this bloke and this bloke and this bloke. So we have some under 19s who get pulled up to play reserves, and then we pick our our 19 side comes second to the seniors. Then the reserves coach gets to look at the rest, and then whatever's remaining goes to Tyab, and then a couple go to Sorrento as well to fill them as well. So it just gets them all playing footy, but they all train with us. And then on the weekend, you see a result where we've got 14 out, and they all get an opportunity to come and pull on the jumper. And Edie handed it to them, but I love seeing them all come back and put out our jumper and get the opportunity to play for us.
Because I know our 19s coach was just like, I wonder what they're going to have. Because sometimes Tyab can be, I think, because they've got to win.
Yeah,
they've won a game.
They have, and it's funny you say that because I got a call. So when we had a bye, or when we had a week off, Division 1 had a week off, I got a call from the Rye Football Club asking me what under 19s we were sending back because they had to win against Tyab, and their concern was
that last year?
No, that was this year.
This year, was it? Yeah,
their concern was that we were going to send back
the weaker ones.
Well, we could send back anyone. We weren't playing. Yeah. And I said to them, no, rest assured.
Can we have the good ones?
Rest assured that we will, even though we're not playing, we will pick a legitimate 1s, 2s, and 19s, and then we will only send back the blokes who wouldn't have got a game this week had we played.
Because they missed the finals. Fairness. They missed the finals last year, right? 19s, due to an MOU arrangement to Somerville actually knocked them out in the last round because of that imbalance where someone did send some players.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. Right, let's move on to round 10. So heralds the start of the second half of the season, and it's going to be a bloody tight finish to the post, there's no doubt. Devon Meadows take on Bomb Beach out at Devon Meadows' home deck. Not a bad game of footy, though I think Bomb Beach are just floundering a little bit. I think Devon will be too good out there. But, Gammers, your thoughts, please?
Yeah, 3rd v 5th. Yeah, Bomb Beach, look, they've probably had a tough couple of weeks and at home as well, which hurts. They've lost two in a row at home. They're well coached by Schwarter. They are hard at it. Just probably
very much improved, Bomb Beach, I've got to say.
100%
from last year.
They're just probably lacking a bit like the clubs around them, just that top talent of those top 3 sides.
Yeah, and I think Devon have to win. It goes without saying every home game coming in. You almost have to pen them in for every home game coming in.
Yeah, they're tough to beat.
And I think Devon see themselves, like I said before, that Pearcedale are the ones that propping their head up to say we're chasing you. But I reckon Devon want to be that side. Yeah. They want to be that side. They're saying, hey, we're just as good as Pearcedale pushing there as well. So I think they'll make a statement this week and they'll win it comfortably.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too, Suss.
Devon, I think, Devon will do it comfortably.
Frankston Bombers on their home deck take on Rye. All due respects to Rye, but is this an opportunity to rest some boys for Frankston?
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either.
Is it an opportunity to, though, if they're a little bit sore, if you're carrying in?
I think it's too early. I wouldn't be doing it. If you've got Harnett back, you've got a couple of boys back, I wouldn't be doing it. I'd play him. Grant might look at himself, being the coach at his age, and say, I'm kicking bags of goals anyway, I can play every second week. But aside from him, they're not that old.
Yeah.
I'd be all guns blazing. And Rye's a side that can surprise you, so I wouldn't be doing that.
It's just about that. Rye are probably the last team on the ladder that still have a legitimate claim to finish 5th. So they'll be going for them, whether that works for them or not. But they'll be a legitimate competitor for at least a quarter or 2.
Okay, yeah, good call. Hastings take on Chelsea at Hastings home ground. Another really nice opportunity for Hastings to keep going with their winning formula and to Kev to really get them up and going against a Chelsea that might be gettable. It seems like they might be gettable.
I'm not going that far. But they will definitely be a lot more competitive than what they were early in the year in this game.
Oh, no doubt.
I think they might have played already and Chelsea really got hold of them. So, they'll be closer, but I'd expect Chelsea to probably go 50, 60 plus.
And look for some answers from last week.
Yeah. You'd expect that, but
I think it was. I don't think it was Sam Mitchell who said it. I think it was Jack Ginnivan that turned around and said, "Bring the mouth guards." I reckon Chelsea would be pretty brutal on the training.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. I think they're the real McCoy.
I think they'll bounce back big time in this one.
Gabriel take on Crib Point over at the Bulls' home ground, and wow, Sus, nervous times for the Cribby boys.
Jeez.
We need a response, lads. But Cribby here by plenty, I reckon.
Yeah, but But it was great to see Kringle winning the first quarter last week. So they're making grounds. But yeah, AUKUS is back on the table.
So we're all cribby there, are we?
Yeah.
Righto, Pearcedale take on Tyab. And Tyab talk about need a response, but Pearcedale on their home deck. Wow.
I've been so politically correct on Tyab this year. But I've seen them now. This could be big.
It could be huge.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to be a lot of wrestling in the forward line between three elite forwards, an older bloke who seems to be just kicking goals, and two younger blokes who are just elite. This could be an absolute goal fest between the three of them this week.
Yeah.
Daniel's the one. Cruz kicks goals a lot, but Daniel can play.
Yeah, Daniel, Davis, Eddie and Cruz.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they won't fly Ryan Bastanek this week, but I don't think that'll make too much difference.
No. These, just a question for you both. These beltings and sus, these beltings we're seeing, is it a direct result of the league not having the ability to expand? Should some of these teams be playing in a Division 3 comp and being competitive and strong?
Well, I have a pretty strong opinion. I've had it for a few years. I think it should have happened.
So do I. And you would have been at Beaky at the time.
I was at Beaconsfield. So you had Beaconsfield, Cranbourne and Narry. And I understand, I'll say this again, I've been on record saying it. I understand there's a history. I understand that. I'm not sitting here saying I don't know that history. I know there's a history. But logic says that should have happened.
Yeah.
And now we've lost all those clubs out to the Southern, which if you have a look at the Southern, that Southern has grown like
it has.
The footballers going out to that Southern Football League is amazing.
The crowds are bigger and the umpiring's better.
I think we missed a trick and we should have had 3 divisions in this comp. It would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it happens now.
Yeah. Gummers, you got a view on that?
I do. I agree. It's just I'm not sure it's as easy as just saying, let's have 3 comps. Some clubs, and I think our club was one of them, said as we haven't had success for how long? Is this going to put us back? Is this going to help us? So there is that selfish aspect to it, which I'll tell you Somerville does have. But I also understand it would probably, now I've looked at it for a while, be better for the masses, but it would have to be done right.
Okay.
If you're a Divi 3 side, though, and you're sitting at the top of the ladder, and we don't need to name clubs, but if you're sitting at the top of the ladder and you're having success, you might be sitting in the middle of Divi 2 now, and you're having success and you win yourself a flag and you push yourself into Divi 2, I just see the benefit in that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you get sides who are sitting down the bottom end, maybe a Kringle right now, who would love to be in games every week, but at the moment they're not. And they'll be building something. Kringle will be building something.
No question.
Whatsoever.
No question.
We talked about getting them in to talk about that. But
let them build, let them be successful.
100%. It's going to be a tough build from there.
100%. Tired, same thing. Same thing, Sus.
It's interesting. It'd be fair to say that the juniors have beat the seniors.
Yeah.
So you're finding now that the junior teams, the Rosebuds, are playing the we'll call them the outer east sides, and the outer east are coming down to here. So it's happened, and there's a pathway I think that's been created there with the expectations that the juniors will take through into the seniors in a couple of years' time. That will make that happen.
Yeah.
I think you make a great point, Leigh, about the mistrick around strength of competition, because I was coaching in the Southern League a few years ago, lower divisions, and the Southern League was seen as a bit of a joke.
Yeah,
really.
It was. Yeah.
Now, we had a good chat about this the other day, that the top Southern team would smack the top MPFNL team.
Yeah,
if we played against each other.
It's changed.
It just
changed.
would. Yeah.
We played Dingley the last couple of years, and we beat them last year in a pracky. They beat us this year.
Yeah.
I was surprised, because I've always said the MPFNL is stronger than the Southern, but there's a question mark
it's
on
balanced
it right
out.
now. It's a question mark. Yep.
Good one. The selection table match of the round coming up, we've chosen Seaford versus Somerville for Hen's Teeth Tattoos down there in Rosebud, because it has a fair bit of interest around it for other reasons. But we see this being at Seaford, a responding Seaford. We see this being fairly close.
Never coached at Seaford.
Bring the cones in.
Yeah,
whether it's bloody grandstands almost right on the ground.
You'll be kicking into the grandstand.
Yeah, it's small.
So how do you go about preparing for that, mate? Do you bother preparing for that? Do you go through some extra vision?
Something's not that big either, To be fair, it's bigger than RF Miles, but it's not that big, Sonny. I think we'll concentrate more on how they play. I went and watched them during the break when Sus stood me up.
You got invited upstairs, mate.
Sus he stood me up, so I had to watch the game. They seem to have a really distinct thing, so we will prepare for that accordingly.
Good. Any goods ins and outs, or are you pretty steady as she goes now? You got all your ins back in there, haven't you?
No, we haven't.
There's still a couple out, is it?
Probably got a few big guys that have got to feed back in.
Okay.
Tom Roberts and those kind of guys. I think Tom will train this week to see if he'll play. And
okay.
I think Andy Roberts is maybe a week behind him. But other than that, yeah, we're probably at 85%.
Right.
Tom Roberts would be is he seriously going to come back for? He'd be a massive in if you can get him in.
Well, he played 3 quarters against Crib Point before dislocating his shoulder. He would be. Yeah, 100%. He's trained. He trained all last week. It's a bit of a duty of care thing now. Yeah. We're getting some advice.
So 2 or 3 away, do you think? 2 or 3 weeks?
To be fair, he'll put his hand up this week, and we'll just see how the week plays out. He won't play in the ruck.
Yeah, okay.
How old's he?
Tom would be 26, 27 years old. Yeah. We really probably need to get him going at the end of this year for next year and get him back to being the premier ruck in whatever Div we in, which probably looks like Div 2 at the moment.
Oh, excellent. Well, that's a wrap for the Division 2 footy show in the upcoming round 10. We're going to take a short break and be right back with Sus's Pallets.
Nestled on the beautiful Mornington Peninsula, Sharmac Lodge offers a peaceful 6-bedroom retreat in Rye for short-term stays for adults of all ages living with disability or illness. Overnight or day stays are available 7 days a week with tailored care provided around the clock. Guests can also participate in daily activities on the peninsula, making it a perfect getaway. Rest easy knowing your loved one's care is personalised to their needs. Finally, a short-term respite solution that brings peace of mind and can be funded under your home care package or NDIS funding. Book a tour today with the welcoming team at Sharmac Lodge. Visit aftercare.com.au or search Sharmac Lodge today. Let their family help your family.
Yep.
Welcome back to Halftime Heroes, and we're nearly there, folks. It's been a bit of a long show, but there's been some bloody educated guys in the room talking about good stuff, so we love it. I'm going to throw over to Sus for his pallets, and we'll do the beep. Beep,
beep, mate, listen to that.
That's where the pallets get them. I'm just trying.
Hang on.
You should get.
I'm working in.
Hang on a minute.
You should get.
I know the show's been long, but you sacked the cone of silence, which was copyright, and then went with the
beep beep.
That's
was that copyright as well?
Yeah. So you need to retract.
Having said that, he's the man tonight. He's
leading.
Pretty shiny, isn't he?
I can see you sitting on the forklift tomorrow, just going beep 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 beep.
Right, I throw it to you, Sus.
Right, folks. We talked about coaching. I'll call it. What's a good way of putting it? Coaching mentality and soundness and all that. And what really gets under my skirt and we get around is we're halfway through a season and we've got clubs making decisions about coaches in round 9 as a result of a loss of a game. And it really irks me that we talk about this and, we don't want to mention clubs or anything like that, but it'll probably come out in the next couple of days. But, geez, you have a crack and you're in a good position at the moment. But because of expectations of someone else and the competitive nature of footy, we put this coach through a series of, geez, I don't know, it just how we are as a society now, and to do that, I just get annoyed. That's all.
Yeah, there'd want to be some sort of fairly solid grounds to make decisions that come round 9, Macca. I think it's
there's KPIs and there's all that type of thing and expectations, and
coaches are human too.
Yeah, but round 9, anything can happen in another nine rounds. It's just and the team were on a good. I thought we're doing the right thing, and with a young list, we're doing exceptionally well. But geez, we just don't like that.
No, I think we all agree here, fellas, don't we? That it's a tough gig at the best of times, and you need support from all and sundry around your footy club. And Wow, that's
Well,
it's no good.
The problem is when and if that happens to someone, you see it on your club page, you see it on your social media, you probably see it when you're going to do junior footy on a Sunday. You hear people talking about it like it's so public. You
And
haven't
it
really
grows.
You haven't got to write a reply either, to be fair. And it's
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's doing this job who doesn't give 110%
And
plus.
we talked about it last week on the pellets with Ange,
Yeah.
and him getting the bullet after winning the cup.
It's
So
extraordinary.
it's just like a game plan or a strategy is just chucked out the window now. That's all.
Yeah, it's there's no good in it, Mac.
Yeah, you would hope there would have been a little bit of communication around it leading in, and it's not just a total blindside.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know, but
We don't know, but it does seem like a bit of a blindside situation. But all will be divulged of the club we are talking about, given we record on a Monday night, in due course. So I like that, Sus. Thank you. That was
Try to keep it
that
on
was
the
very
narrow.
very good. We've got to start looking after each other, folks. That's a wrap for tonight's show. Thanks to the Susovich family once again and our magical button pusher over there. He's bloody done a magnificent job and a good pallets as well.
He's coming in next week with his kilt on, he reckons.
We're going to have him back, are we?
Apparently.
We better get him back.
Do we need him back?
No, we need him back desperately. We
Okay,
do.
all right.
Macca. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we need him back.
Macca.
Oh, you're all right.
You're all left. All right. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Thanks, mate.
We'll see you in a fortnight's time.
Yep.
Good luck on the weekend against
Thank you.
Sorrento.
Thank you.
And all the best to the boys down there. I'm sure it's going to be a cracking game
Can't
on
wait.
Saturday. And Gummers, to you, mate, thanks again for coming in. And thanks for coming back, actually.
Thanks, Commish.
I'm
I couldn't have any more stories about bedtimes and watching grand finals, so I had to come in and show my face.
Oh, you know what happens when you
I know.
miss one. It just
love
happens.
listening.
Sus?
Big thank you to the place where we are today at Frankston Toyota.
Frankston
Just
Toyota,
sitting
the
in the
Toyota
background there.
family. We love you. Those end of financial year sales coming up within the next 10 days or so keep an eye out for them. That's a wrap for the Halftime Heroes. Thanks for joining us, everyone. What does Adam say? Good evening, good morning, and good night.